course he did.
Maple leaf flag. Good face. Are you serious? Oh my goodness! Glorious and free!
Gotta meet one of these two Europeans. Getting there, but it's there, it's right in the middle. Look at Rahm on the other side of it.
He's all the way back. Koepka conquers the PGA
Brilliant to the end, and on Seve's birthday, Spain reigns again at Augusta, and Jon Rahm is the Masters champion.
Hello and welcome to the Putting for Dough show. I am Jack Humphrey. You can find me on X at JH4Dough Media. On my own. I'll get more into what's been going on life-wise and the future of this show a bit later on. The future, obviously, it's going to look very different without DraftKings in the UK, but we can get into that a bit later. I wanted to do a show really just to get some thoughts out really on the Masters, and it was an epic Masters. I loved it from start to finish, to be honest. One of my favourites ever. Not my favourite. 2019 will always be my favourite one for obvious reasons. I'm a massive Tiger Woods fan, but it was certainly up there with one of my favourites to watch ever. So it was a good viewing. But I wanted to go back to the beginning of it really. Even before Thursday's first round, I thought Rory was going to win. I just didn't bet him at the number at 7-1. In hindsight, I should have. I just couldn't, because with Rory and Augusta, there's always those demons. Obviously, he's conquered them now, but Augusta's probably the easiest of the four majors to predict. I think you genuinely just want the player that's playing the best golf in the world at the time. And, you look back over the last few years, you can see that 2022, it's Scottie Scheffler comes in with, I believe it was 2 wins that year, wins the Masters. Jon Rahm 2023 comes in with 3 wins, wins the Masters. Scottie Scheffler 2024, 3 wins, wins the Masters. Rory McIlroy this year, 2 wins, wins the Masters. It's a pretty simple thing. I think even when you go a bit further back, even Dustin Johnson had some wins, a few wins coming in. Obviously, that Masters was played in 2020 during COVID. Sorry, I've now got a dog in the background. So sorry if you got that. But yeah, that was obviously played in November in the winter because of COVID. But so that was a lot different, that Masters. I try not to include that with a lot of research stuff that I do for the Masters, to be honest, because I just try and blank it out of my mind. It wasn't the best one to watch, but nonetheless, the best player again at the time won the tournament. So I think it's probably the easiest out of the 4 to predict. And I think as bettors and things like that, and fantasy players, I think we overcomplicate the Masters more than it should be. But yeah, let's start with Thursday then. I mean, I'm going to talk about Rory a lot. A lot of people think, I think they get the perception of me that they think that I hate Rory. It's not the case. I dislike a lot of the things he says. there's a lot of things I don't like that he does. Like for instance, like the round after, obviously Thursday, he doesn't speak to the media. That doesn't really bother me. I play sport, and I'm a bad loser, and when things are not going my way, I don't want to talk to anyone. So I couldn't. I'm an amateur as well. I'm not even on the scale of Rory McIlroy. So I that doesn't bother me. Him having a little temper tantrum about it, and Anyway, let's get into Thursday's round. Yeah. As for hating him, I don't. Sorry. So before we get into Thursday's round, I dislike what he says sometimes, but I don't hate the player. He plays for Europe in the Ryder Cup. He's our best player. So there's no hate there towards him from me. And we'll get to it, but I am glad he got over the line. But Thursday, yeah. So Thursday's round, he's cruising until he gets to 15, and then he commits the cardinal sin on that hole. The bailout on that hole is always that bunker to the right of the green. That is the bailout on that hole. He goes over the back. He got probably a bit too aggressive. He was obviously out later in the day, so I think the greens are dried out a lot, and they become like rock art basically. So that ball runs through the back of the green, and then he obviously comes back straight into the water. He does Cantlay, but he doesn't do it as bad as Cantlay, because Cantlay ended up going in twice. But he then goes round to the other area of the drop zone area, which I didn't like the choice at first. I thought the caddy, and there's always going to be criticism around Rory's caddy, and rightly so. But he, we'll come to that on Sunday, what Rory's caddy said to him. But I didn't like the choice. I was proven wrong. He done okay. He got the job done. He got the ball back into play. I didn't like the choice because he'd already had that chip from the back of that green anyway, so he should have known what to have done. I thought he brought unnecessary risk going back in round to that drop zone. But nonetheless, he walks out of that hole with a double bogey. It happens on that hole. That hole is a risk reward hole, right? You can get your birdie or your eagle in it, or you can double bogey or worse. That's what that hole is designed to do. But anyway, he got himself into that position through the second shot. It's the cardinal sin. I'd put it out on X and a few other places. People come at me all you like. I've watched the Masters for 20 plus years. I know where you do not put the ball, and you do not put the ball at the back of that green. Anyway, he regroups himself, gets out 16, and then he gets to 17. And Augusta's one of them golf courses, which is why we all love it. If you put the pins in certain areas on certain days, then it becomes a different golf course as such. So 17, that pin is tucked at the back there. You do not go long on that hole. That's another one, again, you do not go long. He goes long. Anyway, just before we get to that, shout out, actually, pins at Augusta. Loved the pin on 16 on Sunday. A lot of people criticised it. I love it. If you put that pin up there, that makes that hole really, really hard. I don't like the pin where it normally is down on 16 on Sunday, down the bottom there where the ball rolls back. They all know what they're doing with that. I like what they've done. They made that hole a lot more challenging to me. So shout out to Augusta. Loved it. Anyway, back to 17 with Rory. He sticks the ball in the one place on 17. You do not put that ball. Again, double bogeys the hole. So he drops from 4 under, going into his second shot on 15. And he walks off 17 at level par. Saves a par on the 18th. It was a big putt as well. It's just a fair play to him. He stones on that putt. Fair play to him. And then you think to yourself, has he done it now? Like, is it over for him? Has he got into his head again? Didn't speak to the media, obviously. Again, I've already covered that. That did not bother me. I wasn't bothered about that at all. A lot of people get up in arms about that. Like, I like what Shane Lowry said on the Saturday night about it. Like, don't talk to me. I'm annoyed. I've come off. I've done this. I've bogeyed this hole, double bogeyed that hole. And now you're asking me questions about Rory. I like what Shane Lowry said about it. Don't ask, I kind of agree with him. I think they probably do need an hour to cool off. I've walked off the golf course. I'm an amateur again. I've walked off the golf course slamming my clubs in my bag because I'm fuming with what's happened. Anyway, so he makes that par on 18 on Thursday, leaves himself at level par. I probably thought in my head that he's done. He'd done himself no favours, but he really attacked the golf course Friday and Saturday. And yeah, excellent all over. He was playing good. He was playing good golf on the Thursday up to the second shot on 15, and then he got in his head. But he played excellent golf Friday and Saturday. Got himself into the lead. Slept on the lead. That must have been horrible to sleep on, like knowing that you're 18 holes away from completing the Grand Slam and joining the greats. Anyway, so Sunday comes around. He double bogeys that first hole. And I'm just like, oh my God, here we go again. And by this point, I'm wanting him to win. Like, I'm not, I like Bryson DeChambeau. Again, another golfer people seem to don't like him. I don't understand it, but each their own. We can't like everyone, and I like Bryson DeChambeau, but so Rory double bogeys that first hole. I think he parred the second from memory, and then Bryson obviously got in the lead. But after that, Rory put his foot on the gas and put his foot on Bryson's throat, really. And I liked what he'd done because the way he was playing Rory after those first few holes, it reminded me a bit of Tiger. It was like, I'm going to step on your throat now. And I think he got in Bryson's head. And we just saw Bryson just go. Like, he just disappeared. What I didn't see was Justin Rose. What he'd done. Shout out Justin Rose. Well, I've actually met Justin Rose years and years ago at Wentworth. He's one of the nicest golfers on planet Earth. I also had that first round leader ticket, like a lot of Golf X was on, which was great. I had it 66-1. It was great. Yeah, it more than paid for my weekend. That. So thank you, Justin Rose. I did not see that round from Justin Rose on Sunday, but he just loves Augusta. He gets that golf course, and become Rory's challenger, and obviously got himself into the lead eventually. We saw, before I just jump into where he gets himself into the lead, I put this out on X. Before Justin Rose gets himself into the lead, I put this out on X about, I thought Rory, the 4 shots that Rory hit that will stand out was the one on 7 over the trees. Excellent golf shot. The hook around the tree on 15. Again, excellent golf shot. The second shot on 17, where he was screaming at it to go and go and go, and it eventually went for him. And then the second shot in the playoff. For me, the second shot on 17 was the Stones one, because that was not a birdie hole. Rory made it a birdie hole, and he had to make it a birdie hole because Justin Rose is in the lead by this point. For me, the second shot wins it. I get why the hook around the tree on 15 will win over people, but he missed the eagle putt. Like, I can't. For me, it won't win in any poll, but I understand why people would vote for it. The shot over the tree on 7 as well, just absolutely filthy. I mean, that's prime Tiger Woods at Masters. But yeah, so obviously it gets to 18, Rory. He's level with Justin Rose. This is before the playoff. After the second shot into 17, which I've already spoke about, just a filthy golf shot, I thought, from Rory, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then I don't know what happened with the second shot on 18. He sticks it into that bunker. And then I thought, well, if you remember a few years ago, when both him and Morikawa chipped in from that bunker, I said, well, he knows this shot anyway, so he should stick this relatively close. I actually thought he should stick it closer than he actually did. Anyway, he doesn't. He leaves himself that tricky putt, and I just thought, I always knew in my head he was going to miss that. I just had it in my head. I was like, he's going to miss this. This is a big time pressure putt, and he does. So we go to the playoff. Neither player put a foot wrong in the playoff. Like Justin Rose he hit a beautiful shot off the tee, hits the second. He's obviously a lot further back than Rory. I think that's where Rory got his advantage in the playoff. Rory's gone past him by at least 20, 30 yards. I thought Justin Rose was very unlucky not to get more rollback off that bank on that green that we always see on the 18th on Masters Sunday. But he'd left himself a makeable putt, and he'd seen that putt before because that's the putt Sergio made against him in their playoff. So he'd seen that putt before. Anyway, he misses it, and then Rory's second shot into 18 was just it was brilliant. He played it perfectly, and he left himself the putt that he needed to get the job done. Excellent. Look, I'm very happy for Rory. It was great to watch. Like I love the Masters when I can watch history there. That's why 2019 is just my favorite, because no one thought Tiger would win again in a major, and he did. And Rory completing the Grand Slam is history, and I mean, I wouldn't argue with anyone now that he is Europe's greatest ever golfer. I think there was question marks before. I think you obviously have Seve and Faldo with him. And both of those two have come with issues because people don't like either of those two. Because, you know, Seve done stuff in the past that people, I think more the American crowd that don't like Seve as much. And then, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like Faldo because he can come across quite arrogant, I think, at times. But, you know, all the greats do that anyway. Tiger Woods done that, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I think you could have put Rory on par with those two. But winning the Grand Slam, he's past both of them now. It's where you put him in all-time greats. For me, he's probably level with Mickelson at the minute. And I say that as Mickelson's never completed the Grand Slam, but he has more majors. I believe Mickelson has 8 off the top of my head. But I think he's sort of there with Mickelson at the minute. Now Rory will surpass that. I would imagine. You know, I think there's going to be more PGA wins. I think there probably will be a couple more majors. I would find it hard for him to get to double figures. But, you know, there's going to be talks of that. If he wins another one this year, and he certainly could, because the PGA, all 3 majors that are left will suit him. So the golf courses will suit him. He's won on a few of those golf courses before. So it's... If he wins another one this year, then the double figure conversation will start happening, and rightly so. He's got the monkey off of his back. You know, it was a long 11-year wait. It was amazing actually, because I think there was 11 years between Jack's last Masters and Tiger's first. There was 11 years between Tiger's US Open win and his 2019 Masters win, and then there's 11 years between Rory's last major and this Masters win. So it's amazing, the number 11 in golf. So for me, he's Europe's greatest golfer now. No question about it. Ever. Like, he's Europe's greatest golfer ever. I still dislike some of the stuff he says, but that will just be me with him always, I think. And you know what? I'm actually glad that we got to see him win it in Rory's way, where there was going to be mistakes. He could attack the golf course. I'm glad we got to see it that way, because, you know, you can be a robot around Augusta. Tiger, you know, has proven that in the past. Koepka can be a robot in majors, not so much Augusta, but like the PGA Championship. From the last PGA Championship he won, for example, he was just sticking the ball into the middle of the green every time. He's like, I'll leave myself that 15-foot putt because that's how that golf course has to be played. And, he had to play it like a robot. So, yeah, I'm glad Rory won. I'm glad he won it in his way. I thought Justin Rose was excellent, both during the tournament, after the tournament, what he said. I believe Justin Rose will win another major. Time is running out for him at Augusta. It is really running out for him there. I think the Open is somewhere he can still win a major. But he does have the history around Augusta. And I would love to see him get a green jacket because, that's 3 second-place finishes now and 2 playoff losses. That's heartbreak. But he's a great player. Just a couple of other things I want to touch on with the Masters. I think Ludwig will win a Masters eventually. I thought he was excellent, and a lot of people criticise him for going at pins, etc. Down the stretch. He had to attack that golf course, and you can't win around like that golf course on certain holes if you attack it. As I said with Rory on Thursday, he done the 2 cardinal sins that you don't do. So yeah, I do think Ludwig will win a Masters at some point in his career. And Patrick Reed again, another fine performance at Augusta. And yeah, I think Bryson's figuring it out as well. So I could definitely see him winning the green jacket at some point. But I thought it was great golf. One of the best Masters I've ever watched. Like I say, 2019 will always be my favourite, but that will probably be second. It was excellent from start to finish to watch, and yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Not so keen on these signature events. I wasn't really going to go into the RBC Heritage, but I'll just go off it a bit quickly. Yeah, I'm not massively into these signature events, especially coming off the back of majors. I think it's a lot of, it's just draining for everyone involved, really. Even like as content creators, it's draining. This week's been quite nice because you just had that Zurich Classic, the team event. So yeah, it's a bit draining. I don't like it. I don't like the signature events at all. I don't like the no cut aspect of it, and it's a shame because RBC Heritage is one of my favourite events of the year. It's always been one of my favourite go-to PGA Tour stops. I love watching it on TV. I love the golf course. It's certainly a golf course I'd love to play myself one day. So yeah, it's a shame, but it was good to see Justin Thomas get that win. He's been there or thereabouts all year. Didn't shine particularly well at the Masters, but nearly done it at the Valspar where Victor stole it off him really. And then it was good to see him get it done. So yeah, that's good to see. He's certainly back to his best. Couple of futures that I've put in for bets. I put this future in during the round. I think it was round 2 or 3 at the Masters. I bet Bryson at the PGA Championship, which is next in like 2 or 3 weeks' time. I got 18-1 on him at the PGA Championship. So yeah, I've bet that already, and I've also a long shot bet, a massive long shot bet. But he qualified and he won on Live last time out. It was Mark Leishman at the Open Championship. I've bet that at 100-1. So there's a couple of futures that I've got going on at the minute. I'm not a massive lover of doing futures all the time, but those two seem like good bets to me. Leishman especially, he's got good history at the Open Championship. So, and I like Bryson at this PGA Championship. I think Bryson's very live for both the PGA and the US Open coming up. So that was it really. Yeah, I didn't want to go too mad with it. I'll give you 20 minutes on the Masters recap. Great to see, like I say. And yeah, I would not bet against Rory getting another major this year. PFD show future. We've been away for well over a year now. Reason being, I'm going to go into my bit of my story after this, but yeah, reason being, I just haven't had time to commit to content creation at all. And it was you'll get it in a minute, but it was nowhere near the top of my list last year to do. still very much love Mark and Nick. They're not on this show because I haven't really spoke to them about it because I wasn't really going to speak to them about it because I wanted to do this show anyway. But I still love them both. And Nick's had a new baby, so congratulations to Mrs. Nicker Wigan and Mr. Nicker Wigan. I'm very happy for you both. So that's baby number 2 for Nick. So he's obviously been very busy. This is the reason why I haven't really spoken to him about this. And Mark's moved to Italy as well. So Mark's obviously very busy setting up a new life in Italy. It's something I dream of. That would be absolutely amazing. So haven't really spoken to either of them. I will. I would love to have them both on at some point, or we can redo it every week. I just need to speak to them. So in regards to the future of the show, there's going to be more shows because I can now commit to doing content again, which is proven by, if you look, I've recently started writing again, doing all my X articles on each golf event. It will just be PGA. I'm not going back into NFL streets. I'll get into more about, I don't have the time for the NFL at the minute. I don't enjoy, I'll be brutally honest. I didn't watch a lot of NFL last year. I watched the Super Bowl for the first half. I went to one of the London games. That was it. That was kind of it for me. I didn't really watch it. I will get back into it, but it's not something I want to concentrate on my golf content. I can only focus on one thing really. So yeah, I want to focus on my golf content, and so the show will be back, but the show will be a lot different because we don't have DraftKings. And a lot of people say, yeah, we've got fan team still, blah, blah, blah. Bet365, which is fan team as well. Yeah, I get that. I was writing articles earlier in the year for stuff like that. But if I'm brutally honest with myself, when you go from playing for $1 million down to £100 win, or $1 million up top, it doesn't really entertain me as such. And that's not a knock on fan team or anything. People are, oh, you hate fan team. It's not the case. I know people that work there. It's yeah. I know people that work there, and they're all good people. Put it that way. So it's not a knock on that at all. I just don't. It's when you're going from playing from $1 million down to £100. Like it doesn't do it for me. I can win more than that betting. So that's where I'm going to lead into what the future of this show is going to be. This show will be a betting show, and I think that's important. I like that. I've always been into my golf betting as well. Like I've had massive success over the years in it. I had a good week at the Masters. I won £812 each way on Justin Rose, first round leader, and then I had that 4-ball, 2-ball parlay. 2-ball 4-fold on the Sunday that come in for nearly 400 quid as well. So I'd made like 1,200 quid at the Masters. And this is what I'm getting at with like the fantasy aspect of it for me. I used, for example, the 2-ball parlay on the Sunday. I just used all the stats from Fantasy National and things like that. And then I just again, I used the stats and my eye from watching it, which I've always done with golf. I look at players and what they're doing, and then I look at the stats. I look at the players, what they're doing first, and then I look at the stats. That's the way I do it. And, I hit that. And then we had a good week at the RBC Heritage. I cleared 250 quid there, like on them first 2 days on 2-ball parlays. So yeah, like I've had a good couple of weeks betting. Outright's been shocking all year. I'll be brutally honest, they have. I'm quite happy to admit that. I've not got it right on the PGA this year, but we'll find something with that. That's fine. I've had a couple of hits on the DP World Tour. I've had places on the PGA Tour, don't get me wrong, but I've not hit one. I've not hit an outright all year. But I've had hits on the DP World Tour. So that will come around eventually, hopefully. But yeah, I want this to be a betting show going forward. I don't, and I think the thing is with betting as well, I think you can use a lot of that in your fantasy picks and things like that. The other thing that's hard to gauge with fan team, like where I don't particularly before I get into that, the hard to gauge bit, I don't particularly enjoy the format. I don't like the captain and the underdog. That's not my. I think that's very random. If you get what I mean, I'm not really into that. A lot of people, some people like it. That's fine. But just me personally, I don't like it. So yeah, I think we should just. I want to become a betting show, so I will have a chat with the guys. I would love to get them back on at some point. And you can use our picks, betting picks, as fantasy picks if you're choosing to play on fantasy. That's fine as well. No issue about that. Hopefully, DraftKings come back to the UK one day. We'll see. But I say I'm brutally honest. I very rarely play fantasy now at all. For instance, I've left all my NFL leagues. I don't play fantasy anymore. I just bet. That's all I do. So yeah, I want to do that, and then we can probably get guests on. I know a lot of people in the industry now. I'd love to. There's loads of people in this industry. I'd love to get on. Everyone knows my boy Kurt, for example. I'll give him a shout out. EuroLeague specialist. Go and check his work out as well. RotoWire. Sorry. EuroLeague. His bets. I mean, he's made me a lot of money the last 3 or 4 weeks. And I've messaged him. He's made me a hell of a lot of money. So shout out to my guy Kurt. I'd love to get him on because I know he likes talking up PGA and betting and things like that. There's others as well, like Byron. I'd love to get Byron on eventually. Tom Jacobs. I met Tom Jacobs and Pat Mayo last year. That was great. So yeah, like just that's the way I want to go with the show. And hopefully we can do that. Become maybe just a recap show and a betting show. I think that's probably the way forward for us. So that's the admin out the way. What's been going on in Jack's life? Jack, so I put it out on X last year. I'd gone through a very hard start to the year. Not something I wanted to do. Not something I wanted to do. I didn't really have a choice. Not something I wanted, but it happened. It's fine. I dealt with it very badly. I made a lot of mistakes, and I can hold my hands up now. I turned to drink, which I'm not ashamed to admit it. That's what I'd done. I used it as a coping mechanism, and then about 5 months ago now, nearly 5 months ago, I'd just made the decision that that's it. You need to pick yourself up and go again. I'll tell you one thing: when you go through something, when you go through your hardest moments, I'll tell you one thing: you realise who your true friends are, and that's not a knock at anyone. It's not. I'm not knocking anyone. I've done a lot of stuff last year that I'm not ashamed. Well, I'm ashamed of, really. So I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, you do. When you go through your darkest times, you realise who your true friends are, and that's good. So thankfully, Jack had to go through that time, I think, and Jack had to hit a rock bottom to come back. And I'm in the best place I've probably been in for, I don't know, pre-COVID. So I would say, yeah, we're talking 6-7 years now. Probably since my daughter was born. I'm in the best place since. So that's good. And, I can now concentrate on doing things that I love, and content creation is one of them. So I'm now getting back into my content creation. I'm still doing my stuff for Fantasy National, which is great. Doing my season-long commitments on the PGA Tour there, so you can check my work out there. My articles are always on X. They're always going to be on X. I'm probably going to write an article today, actually, with the boxing tomorrow. There's a big fight in boxing. A lot of people know boxing is another sport I love. I love most sports anyway, but boxing is another sport I love. And there's a big fight tomorrow, so I'm probably going to write an article about that and a couple of the bets that I like in it. That's it. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Like, a lot of people say when you're going through hard times as well, they'll say you need to speak to people, blah, blah, blah. That's easier said than done. Very easier said than done, especially if you're like me. I'm a very stubborn person, and I what do you call it? I don't like speaking to people. Brutally honest, I don't. So no one knew what was going on in my life, but I had to hit the rock bottom to get myself back. Like, and I think that's just the process I had to get through. Some people can speak to people, that's fine, and if you can do that, that's great for you. But for me, that's not something I can do. I had to get to where I had to get to realize that you need to sort yourself out, basically. And thankfully, I have. I play a hell of a lot of golf. I'm probably practicing 3 or 4 times a week at the minute. I'm actually playing in my Golf Society Day tomorrow. I won the first event, which was in March this year. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, hopefully I can retain my trophy tomorrow. We'll see. If not, I'm going for a slight little swing change with the driver, but the rest of the game is in very good shape at the minute. So that's I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. But yeah, I'm in a good place, and just literally when you go through your hard times, you know who your true friends are. I think I'll leave it there, because I think it's a good place to leave it, and those are the people that you want around you all the time. They know who they are to me. So guys, I've enjoyed this. Nearly 40 minutes on my own. It's quite hard to do a podcast on your own if you've never done one before. But I enjoyed it. I am looking forward to bringing you more, which will start next week at the CJ Cup, one of the events that I absolutely hate on the PGA Tour. But guess what? I'm going to do a little pod for it. If it's half hour long, it's half hour long. We'll see if we can get a guest on. I'll have a chat with Mark and Nick as well. But guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for staying loyal. And I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the golf. And yeah, peace out.